Hello, photographers. The ISO setting is one of the greatest advantages of digital photography. But for some reason, instead of celebrating the wonder of ISO, photographers routinely murder cameras over ISO and noise performance. So here's the deal about ISO on your camera and why it's so wonderful. The ISO setting on a digital camera is a volume control. And I don't mean that as an analogy. It is actually a volume control for your camera. Turning up your ISO is exactly like turning up the volume when you're listening to something. The only difference is the output. On a stereo, the output is sound, while on a camera, the output is light. When you take a photograph, light hits the image sensor in your camera. The sensor reacts to that light and produces an electronic signal that's sent to the camera to be converted into a digital image file. And that signal can be amplified. See, sometimes you want to use a fast shutter speed or a smaller aperture, but you can't because it makes the photo too dark. Or sometimes you want to take a photo, but it's a blurry, garbagey mess because it's too dark where you're shooting. Well, when you're trying to listen to something and you can't hear it, you turn up the volume, and if it's too loud, you turn down the volume. And you use your ISO setting the exact same way. If your photo is too dark, you can turn up the volume by increasing your ISO to make your photo brighter. If it's too bright, you can turn down that volume to make your photo darker. Your ISO setting is that simple, and it's amazing. It's amazing because you can change your ISO anytime you want. Before digital, your ISO was locked when you loaded in a roll of film to your camera. If you loaded a roll of ISO 100 film, you were stuck shooting ISO 100 for the next 36 pictures. And if it was too dark, well, that's just too bad. The only way to change the ISO was to change the roll of film, and to do that, you had to finish the roll or rewind it and pull it out and put in a new roll. Being able to change your ISO anytime you want is a huge advantage, and here's the easiest method for using it to get exactly the photo you want to get. All you have to do is set your ISO based on how bright it is where you're shooting. Remember, ISO is a volume control for light. So if it's bright out, it's like having super loud music, which means you'll want to turn the volume down. And if it's dark, it's going to be like having very quiet music, so you'll want to turn the volume up. But don't stress too much about where you set it. Just pick a ballpark ISO setting. For instance, on a bright and sunny day with a lot of light, I'd set my ISO to 100. And for photos in the house at night, I'd probably set my ISO to something like 1600. Now, once you've got your ISO set, you can set your aperture and shutter speed settings wherever you want them. And if you can't get your aperture or shutter speeds where you want, all you have to do is change your ISO. That flexibility is why ISO is so amazing. Now, I know what you're thinking. What about the noise? You need to stop worrying about the noise. And look, I get that you want the best image quality possible. I want the same thing. And I know all about the drumbeat of photographers out there who are obsessing over the noise performance of this camera versus that camera and saying things like you should never shoot over ISO 800 because noise is bad and blah, blah, blah. Yes, noise is a thing, and yes, noise does degrade the sharpness and image quality of your image to some degree. But here's the thing. Sharpness and image quality are technical aspects of your images, and while not unimportant, they are far less important than the content of your image. What makes a beautiful photo is your unique vision as a photographer. A great image is a great image whether or not it has noise in it. For instance, do you know Henri Cartier-Bresson? He is the decisive moment guy and is widely regarded as one of history's great photographers. And this is regarded as one of his great photos. And it is neither tack sharp nor noise free. Now you may or may not like this photo, but that's not the point that I'm trying to make here. The point is that despite the fact that this photo might not be considered technically perfect, it is still considered a fantastic photo because of its content. If Cartier-Bresson had obsessed over technical perfection, he may never have taken this photo. If he was obsessed over noise and only shooting at ISO 100, we might not have this or any of his other work. So stop worrying so much about the noise and just take some damn photos. Now, if you want to learn more about ISO, check out my free ISO cheat sheet, which will help you pick the right ISO when you're out in the field shooting based on whatever lighting condition you're in. Just visit this link right here to get it. And if you have any questions about ISO or photography in general, let me know down in the comments. And then do me a favor, would you like this video and subscribe to my channel? If you really like this video, please share it with your friends. Sharing really helps me spread the word about my videos. But whether or not you share or like or subscribe, you better get out there and take some damn photos. I will see you guys tomorrow for the next live show. And if you can't get your aperture or shutter speeds where you want, all you have to do is change your ISO and then take the kitty out of your lap so you can finish recording the video. Thank you for watching. Now, I get loads of questions and they all boil down to one thing, which is how do I make my camera do what I want it to do? And here's the thing, your camera is like an instrument, and you can't make music if you can't play your instrument. If you want to learn how to play your camera like the instrument it is, visit this link right here to check out my Guide to Shooting in Manual Mode video course.